Welcome to the In-Between, where our mission is faith, purpose, and conversation.
Thank you for joining us as we walk together with Christ and continue to advance His kingdom.
All right, y'all, so we are in episode 5 of the In-Between. It's like crazy how fast this is going.
I know, literally. When did we start? Last month?
What month are we in?
May.
March? I think we started in
What month are we in?
I think we started in March.
March.
Because 4 weeks, 4 episodes, it's a month.
Yeah.
March.
The end of March then.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Wow, we're here.
Yeah.
We're here. We are day 3 of our challenge.
Yes.
So this will be a good what's up with us and God.
No,
and also
for
let's
real.
do what's up with us and God and then what's up with us in our challenge.
Okay. So we'll start with what's up with us and God?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll start then. So it's interesting, because I think the challenge is kind of correlating and connecting with what's up with me and God as well. So right now I'm just trying to figure out who am I without doing and who am I with just being, and so with that comes who am I in Christ? Who has Christ called me to be? What do I have to let go that I've been holding on thinking it's my identity, but it wasn't who God called me to be.
Right.
So I'm just really going through that reflection period right now, trying to figure it out. My prayer has been, God, reveal and remove. So he's revealing a lot of stuff, but he's like, I'm gonna give you the strength to remove it. I'm not gonna do it for you.
Right.
So
I'm gonna give you the resources.
Exactly. I'm gonna give you the power, all that stuff. So go ahead and remove it, when you're ready. So with that being said, I actually got off of social media last night. So I'm trying to do that in connection with the challenge, so to just get off and really focus on who I am, because I think we get so stuck in just doing. And I think with us, just personally, we're always just doing, like literally,
it's a lot.
And so to stop and just, like in Psalms 23, it says, He lies me beside the green pastures. And just to lay down and sit in His presence and that spiritual refreshment, as Tony Evans called it. So that
it sounds
just,
good.
Just trying to figure out, like I said, who am I without all the doing and all the going.
And it's good that in 3 days, like, God has been able to like already move you. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times we think when you start certain things, you don't see it till after a month or a few weeks, but it's so good that God has allowed you to be able to already receive the corrections and like, the kind of changes that He needs you to act on right now. So
I feel like because being more intentional, because when I'm just going and just waking up and just go to work and then just going throughout the day, it's just like you don't have that intentional time to really sit.
Right.
So I think that's why I'm able to listen to Him better now. So I'm excited. Nervous for what He gonna tell me.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Who He gonna remove next?
I know, right? I'm giving you strength to move.
Good. Well, that's good. I think right now I have really been clinging on our topic for this week, which is trust. And so when I reflect at what's up with me and God, He is really putting me in a place to trust Him. Like before, I already felt like I was in a place that I needed to trust Him, but I am like really in a place right now where I have to fully trust Him. And I think the big wrestle that I deal with my faith is I say that I trust God, but my actions don't really fully reflect that I trust that He can do what's best for me. And so this week I have just been really praying that He opens my heart to allow me to just trust in Him wholeheartedly. Not trust in Him just like in a little ways or trust in Him a little and then I try to do, the rest to fulfill what I want. I really, I just feel like this was just such a great week to start with trust. And it's weird how everything has just been lining up. So I would say me and God are good, but I feel like I'm also like scared.
No, it's
like I'm very scared.
Uncomfortable. It's
uncomfortable.
very uncomfortable. I want to share something with you because it was in my devotion this morning. Might be able to find your notes. It was talking about how in Psalms 23, I went into that, but I also was studying Ephesians 3:16 through 20, and it was basically I just was getting that trust amounts to love. Like you can't fully love someone without not trusting them. And so it was talking about the word dwell. And to dwell means to reside in and to make yourself at home. And, it's saying to allow what Tony Evans said, if you want spiritual power, Jesus must be free to fully be at home in your heart. You know, and not just okay, God, you can be in this part,
right?
But don't
move over to everything.
Yeah,
I'm
I got it. Stay in the living room, you know.
Right,
and so
stay where you have access to.
exactly. So that trust, and I think that is exciting for you because it's going to allow you to also grow deeper in love with Him and returning yourself in others. You know, like we talked about in the singleness video. So. Yeah, I was studying the same thing, so it's so crazy.
Good. Well, that's good. I hope that you guys all are in a good place right now with your 75 day. If you guys haven't started yet, totally okay. Like we said, start when you're ready. Yes. God will move you and get you there when it's time.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, we're just gonna get right into it. You wanna start?
Yes. So I'm excited for this because it's gonna be like a Bible study / episode, I guess.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go verse by verse. Yeah. Like what does Pastor say? Verse by verse, chapter by chapter.
Precept. Pastor, I hope you're watching this.
I know, right?
We're listening. We listen.
So we're gonna go out of Exodus 18, and we're gonna start at verse 7, right? 7 through 24, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just start with verse 7 first, and we'll just get what we get out of each one. So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, bowed down, and then kissed him. They asked each other how they have been and went into the tent. I'm going to go into 8. Moses recounted to his father-in-law all the Lord has done to Pharaoh and the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all of the hardships that confronted them on the way, and how the Lord rescued them. All right. So as we were going through this, I know we talked about it before, but check on your friends.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
We didn't introduce the topic.
No. So our topic is it's make Jesus famous again, but we're really going to be tapping into godly community.
Yeah.
So with that, yes, I think checking on your friends and also creating a community where you're feeling comfortable to be able to express how you feel without being judged or without having to feel like, am I oversharing? Am I complaining? You know, is this something that I have to kind of keep to myself? And I think that right here where it says in verse 8, Moses recounted to his father-in-law all that the Lord had done to Pharaoh and the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the hardships that confronted them on the way, and how the Lord rescued him.
He told him everything.
Yeah, but I was going to say, so not only was he able to kind of tell him like the bad stuff, not only was he able to nag, he was also able to like tell him the good stuff. And I feel like in my personal experiences, I've kind of had different people in my life where it's like, you know, I can only talk to you kind of about the bad, and then I have people that I only kind of share the good with, and just now I'm in a place where the people that I've surrounded myself with, I can talk to them about it all. You know, I don't have to have separate friend groups to be able to fully express, which has been just so relieved. I've been so relieved to be able to kind of have that space where I can kind of express it all in one area instead of having to like only half tell you, you know, I can only half tell this person the story and then half tell the other person this story.
Yeah, and that is so good because I think that when we do that, like we break up our, like you said, the good for the good, the people the different friends, we also give them a insight of maybe all that we are, you know what I mean? So that person will always expect bad because you're always going to them with the negative, you know? And so to have people who are seeing you in each season and seeing how God is working, like it said in verse 8, so just like the hardships, but also God made a way. And so that friend is like, wow, you know, like, and so it's also sharing the glory of God, and which is going to, I think it goes further into that in the next verse, but that is so good that you said that. I also wanted to even talk about verse 7, and, you know, like, I remember us talking about, you know, how can we be there for each other? You know, and I love that because just to be able to say, in those times of hardships or in those good times, how would you like me to be there for you? You know, and being intentional about showing up with your friend and checking on your friend. You know, we all have different ways of presenting ourselves or even wanting to.
And how we would want to receive,
Exactly. So it's really good that I really love that we were able to ask, you know, how can I be there for you in those moments?
And I think for me it was really important because I felt like I had lacked that in a lot of my other relationships, and I'm starting to learn that people can't read minds, you know, and if you love people in your life, that you should be giving them the opportunity to know what you need from them and hope that they're able to give that to you. But if not, then you know to let them go. And I feel like that was so important, you know, when we decided to like take on just the in-between and like take our faith serious. Is it's, you know, there are going to be times where, you know, I feel like I'm gonna need something from you, and like, you know, if I'm in this mode, this is how you can be there for me, and vice versa. Like, you know, when you're kind of in these songs, you know, what do you like? You know, and we talked about, you know, just being able to be together, but we don't need to be talking. You know, just be together, but be quiet. Please, just be quiet.
Some background sound.
You know, and it was just like to be able to know, like, okay, I know clearly, you know, what you need from me as a friend, and like you said in verse 7, he met his father-in-law, he bowed down and kissed him and asked how they've been, like to be able to just create the clarity within your friendships, your relationships, I think is really important, you know, just as people.
And I think that vulnerability is just so important in friendships. I struggle with that, because I'm like, I would hate to, I didn't tell bad, but I also didn't tell good. So my life was always just seeming like, you know.
Yeah, it's always the same thing, different day.
And then my friends they would come to me, and I would get upset because I'm like, they're not asking me. You know, I'm always asking them how they, but
but when
like,
they
you're
ask,
not sharing anything, you know. And so just being able to be comfortable with being vulnerable to your friends and understanding that, like you said, that reciprocation has to be there as well. So that is really good. Should we go on to the next verse?
So verse 9 says, Jethro rejoiced over all the good things the Lord had done for Israel when he rescued them from the power of the Egyptians. Blessed be the Lord, Jethro exclaimed, who rescued you from the power of Egypt and from the power of Pharaoh. He has rescued the people from under the power of Egypt. Now I know the Lord is greater than all gods, because he did wonders when the Egyptians acted arrogantly against Israel. Do you want to stop there, or should we kind of go?
Yeah, we can stop there.
Okay.
Yeah. So as I was going through that, I was basically seeing, you know, Jethro rejoiced over all the good things the Lord has done, you know, in Moses' walk, you know, and sometimes you have to have your community has to be able to rejoice for you as well in your good seasons, your highs. You know? So I think that's so important. I wrote down, don't get mad when my neighbor gets blessed. Oh, I don't get mad when my neighbor gets blessed, because that means God is in the neighborhood.
Yes, I do remember that quote.
So I think that is so good, because it's like sometimes we like, okay, well, it's hard to be happy for our friends. Let's be real.
Let's be real.
Especially if you've been in a season where you still waiting for something. You're like, how are they getting blessed? And you're so close to them, you know, and you're seeing it. But it's just to say that rejoice. Because that's still the same God. And he can, the same thing that he did for them,
he can do for you. And I think when I look at it, honestly, what that means for me is, you know, I ask God to work on my heart. Allow me to be able to, although I'm in a waiting period, although I may be like in a season of plateau, change my heart so that I am able to give love and give congratulations to people who are experiencing like their blessings in that season. And I just think that that's so important, because sometimes it's really our heart that needs to be changed. Sometimes we just, you know, we're in a season where our heart isn't filled with love fully. No matter how much we think that we have love for the people in our lives, sometimes we're so stuck in our funk of not being at where we are that we can reciprocate that to others. And I think that then that affects people who want to be around you, you know, because it's like, dang, I don't feel comfortable sharing my wins because I don't want you, you know, to feel bad. And I think that I, you know, experienced that in a friendship that, you know, I felt like I would love for you to know the good, but I don't really fully know for sure if you are happy for me. You know what I mean? And so to that end, it's like, you know what, God, I need to make sure that in all areas of my life that I'm able to kind of give the people that I love the kudos, the congratulations, because Lord, either you're in the neighborhood or even if you're not in the neighborhood, for me, when it's time, I know that because I've given good energy back to people that I love, that they're going to be able to reciprocate that to me, because I think it's also hard to expect for someone to give you a reaction or love that you want when you couldn't do that to anybody else.
That is so good. Wow. That is really good.
Alrighty, so let's go into 12. So it says, Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and sacrifices to God. And Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat a meal with Moses' father in God's presence. The next day Moses sat down to judge the people, and they stood around Moses from morning until evening. When Moses' father-in-law saw everything he was doing for them, he asked, "What is this you are doing for the people? Why are you all alone sitting as judge while all the people stand around you from morning until evening?" That's a heavy hitter.
That's right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a heavy hitter.
All right. So,
I mean, I feel like it's pretty clear. Like, sometimes you want to take on so much, and even like when we just did our check-in, like we're so quick to do, and doing things on our own that, for me, it's a testament that we don't even trust that God can help us and relieve us. We don't even trust that the people that are in our circle can help us when we need it. And you know, Moses' father-in-law pointed us out, like, you're sitting here from morning to evening doing all of this on your own when you should be surrounding yourself with people who can help you. So now you need to look back and think, do you not trust that the people around you can help you? Or do you not trust that the Lord can give you that power to delegate and put other things on other people? Like, there's so many things that I pulled from this, like from my personal perspective. It's like, you need to start like fully understanding and thinking, like, why am I in this position where I feel like I have to do with no support or no help, and not wanting to ask for help.
And that's what it's interesting. I mean, I can't, but just based on my own understanding, how I applied this to my life, is I'm a very solution-based person. So with that, it's very hard for me to ask for help. You know, but then I also am very exhausted at the end of the day, and I'm like, okay, why? And I even I have to look at my community, is why is no one seeing that I need help? You know, but I'm like, okay, because you didn't say nothing, you know? Exactly. So and it's so crazy because I still think about it, but on Sunday at church, it was a lot going on. It was just so much, like the baptisms and everything that was going on. But for you to come and you got you just instantly just got the live and like, all right, bet, I'm doing this. And I was like, oh, like the weight that was lifted. You know, we have a team, but for you to see that, you know, help was struggling needed. And you came over there and you just did it. You know, took that initiative. Is, you know, something that I truly value, because that's what I also look for. You know, so but with Jethro, it's like for him to be able to check his friend or check his son-in-law. Like, okay, like let's what are you really trying to accomplish? You know, is it you just don't trust people to help you, or is it like you just think that you can do it all on your own? You know, and so I had to really. That really hit me. That resonated with me, because that was something that I struggled with.
And I think I'm so glad that you brought that perspective of, you know, you mentioned, why don't people see? And I think in that scenario, I think prior, I didn't see. I think there was a period of time where I always felt like, well, if someone needs help, they'll ask, you know, but I think it's just so important, if you love people and just being so present where you are, that you're able to kind of see and pick up in those areas. And in that specific, you know, scenario, it was, you know, I'm present and I'm seeing that, you know, the people around me need help. It's not my job, but I think it's this scripture too, because I mean, you can also look at it as, why aren't you asking for help? Why aren't you trusting the people around you? But like you said, some people are just so solution based that they feel like they're able to get it all done. But us as brothers and sisters in Christ, you know, we also need to be very present in our environments, that if we know that we can give more to the people around us, we need to step up and we need to do better.
That is so good, that presence. So then I'll go into verse 15. Moses replied to his father-in-law, "Because the people come to me to inquire of God. Whenever they have a dispute, it comes to me, and I make a decision between one man and another. I teach them God's statutes and laws." "What you're doing is not good," Moses' father-in-law said to him. "You will certainly wear out both yourself and these people who are with you, because the task is too heavy for you. You can't do it alone."
I think we stop there. I think what stood out to me is 17.
Okay.
From the jump, because it's like, what do you, like, who are you to tell me, like, what I'm not doing is good? Like, I've been doing it. It's my plan. God gave me the task to do this, and so who are you to tell me? And I think it stood out to me because oftentimes, as someone who is very independent, I sit, when I, you know, deal with just relationships with family and friends, I always kind of wrestle with, you know, why don't I feel like people step up for me or help me when I need it? But it's like, I present myself to be this independent person. And so a lot of times, many people in my life don't know how to show up for me or be there for me because I don't create that path or a safe space for people to help me. And I think that a lot of times when we take people kind of calling us out in that way as, oh, you're trying to question who I am, you're trying to question how I do things, when, you know, people are able to see on the outside, we're struggling, we're doing it, we're getting it done,
it's getting done,
but we're drained, we're exhausted, we're tired. And I think like this hit home because his father-in-law has come with good intentions. He wants the best for him, and he's seeing that what he's doing is literally tearing him down and breaking him down. And not only is it saying you're wearing yourself out, but you're wearing the people out around you because the task is too heavy. And a lot of times, because we try to take on so many things, I think that it kind of affects the quality of how we're putting things out. And so, you know, we're halfway doing things, but then in our eyes, it's like, I'm doing my best, I'm doing all I can, when it's like, you give it to the community around you. Delegate, know and realize when what you have on you is too heavy of a load, and trust that the people around you are going to step up, you know, when you need it. So 17 like jumped out because I felt like it was coming for me.
Yeah, no, and I'm just sitting here reflecting on it because I literally last night, and I'm gonna have to apologize to my mom, and I think it's kind of messed up. You know, my mom is also, she walks in her walk with Christ as well, and so with us, I feel like we could be a little bit closer, but I think it's because of my own pushback. Because I'm thinking, okay, well, why don't you know how to pour into me? You're the closest person to me, and you know, you're supposed to be, you know, you see me every day. And it's just like, she's told me several times, like, you're doing too much. Maybe you need to step back. And I'm like, well, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Like, are you questioning?
You know, exactly. Like, I'm doing okay. I'm doing fine. You know, but it's not until I'm mentally and spiritually exhausted, and then I'm sitting here crying. I call it a 3-month breakdown. That's what I tell my therapist. That's what it's a 3-month breakdown. But I'm literally like just depleted. Yeah. You know, and so, which, like you said, it takes away from myself, but also the work that I'm putting out. Yeah. And I'm thinking I'm helping everyone. You know, I'm doing the right thing, but it's like, no, you're not doing it because you're not fully being able to show up. You know, because you're barely showing up for yourself. You know, and so, Mom, I'm sorry. I truly am, because I'm telling you, this is what she has always tried to, you know, just instill in me. You know, she's been there. You know, she's always said she was the person always in ministry. She was the person always doing. And it wasn't until she had to step back. And, you know, sometimes in my mind, I'm like, well, God is calling me to this. And it's like, because we're solution based, you think that you have to be the solution to everything. Oh, you know, God. It's like, if you don't do it, then no one else is. Yeah. But it's like, okay, God might be, what God tells you. I've heard something before, like, sometimes it's the plan for somebody else. Yeah. You know, and you see the problem. Yeah. Share the plan. Yeah. Just because you see the problem doesn't mean you have to be the solution. Right. You can be a part of it. Maybe, you know, like, but you don't have to be the
That's crazy, because, like, we do. I feel like because I think I know everything. I know I don't know everything, but I do think that I do. And it's oftentimes it's like, okay, you know, you have the plan. Let somebody else fulfill it. Yeah. You are doing all that you need to do. You are doing everything within your bandwidth. But because you know you have the solution, allow someone else to take on that solution. And I think for me that takes a lot. I'm controlling, so I think that I also that's something that I need to work on. But when looking at the scripture, for me, it was like, it just allowed me to break down, like, there are so many things within us that while we may have good intentions, we have to acknowledge that it's not good. It's not good. And even with the delivery of Jethro, like, someone come up to me talking about what you're doing is not good.
Come on, calm down.
Who are you like, let's be so serious. Let's be so serious. And I think that when you surround yourself with people who you know without a shadow of a doubt love you and have the best for you, you're able to receive this type of feedback and be like, you know what? I trust them, and I know that they would never, you know, want ill. So let me sit back and reflect and see, you know, how I can step back so that I'm not presenting this type of energy that is clearly seeable from people, you know, on the outside in. And so I think just 17 and 18 alone was really good good for me.
Yeah, and like you said, that check in with yourself. Yeah. I mean, like that, you're gonna certainly wear yourself out.
Yeah.
Because a lot of Christians, especially if we, you know, when we first start off with our walk, we're on fire. We're like, I want to do everything. I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of that. I'm like everything.
Y'all, we were trying to plan.
Oh my God.
We're gonna do it, y'all. We were trying to plan a community extravaganza and a retreat. Yeah, and that is so. The tensions were good.
Yeah.
And I hope that God continues to use us so that we are able to fulfill that. But we were just on fire, and it's good to be on fire, but it's good to also be so for real.
Exactly. And you in that moment were Jethro. And that's the
thing. It's like I was support.
Yeah.
But then I went home and I was like, wait, how are we gonna? And I do my best. Yeah. I might cry.
And that is so crazy because, and that's what it's so important because it's so important to have those people on the side of you. Because literally, when we did the challenge, it was like, all right, bet, let's do this in 2 days, and we did it. You know, cool. But when I tell you the exhaustion I had after that week, I was like, that was all in 1 week.
That, and I was like, wait, but we haven't even done the challenge.
Yeah.
Huh? Like what?
Exactly.
3 months? Like I just did 3 months.
Yeah, literally. And then after that, we're already talking about doing something else. And doing, and you know,
choose something else.
Two something else's.
Sorry. No. In theory, it sounded so good. Yeah. And our intentions were there. Yeah. We weren't trying to just do stuff to do stuff, but it really took us being like, let's sit and reflect. And again, you gotta have community.
You have to.
In a world where people are telling you to just worry about yourself, you gotta have community. It's
I've tried to do life, and I'm like, I don't need nobody.
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish it was that easy. Yeah. No, life is not.
It's not.
Life really
it's
be
not. Let's jump into 19. So 19 says, now listen to me. I will give you some advice, and God be with you. You be the one to represent the people before God and bring their cases to Him. Instruct them about the statutes and law and teach them the way to live and what they must do. But you should select from all the people able men, God-fearing, trustworthy, and hating dishonest profit. Place them over the people as commanders of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. They should judge the people at all times. They can bring you every major case, but judge every minor case themselves. In this way, you will lighten your load, and they will bear it with you. If you do this, and God so directs you, you will be able to endure it, and all these people will be able to go home satisfied.
Yeah, that advice.
Yeah.
He just didn't tell him, like, okay,
You're
it's
not
not
doing
good. But he's saying, let me also help you out. Let me give you some sound advice to also push you further in your mission.
And I think when I first read this, it just allowed me to think of my relationships. You know, the people in my life, when they are, you know, calling me out, are they calling me out and also providing me with feedback on how I can get out of that? And I think that has been something that I've really been clinging to as I, you know, I would say reestablish my friendships. I feel like as we begin this walk, I'm walking into a different person than what I was when, you know, my friends first met me, or when my family, you know, who they knew me as. And I think that the biggest thing on, you know, debating if, you know, whether I should hold on to certain relationships is, you know, looking back on scenarios when, you know, there may have been disagreements or turmoil, you know, in that moment where they're willing to help me, not just call me out. And I think that that's why that meant so much to me, because he called him out, but he said, like, this is what I think you should do, you know. I think that this is how you can break it down so you still are able to feel fulfilled and do what you are called to do, but you're also able to kind of load the load, and so that everyone all the way around is better. And I think when I just look at my relationships, that was, you know, again, what caused me to get therapy was I love the people in my life, and I want to be better. I want to be a better friend, a better sister, a better daughter. And it was like, you know, what work do I need to do within myself so that I'm able to still be in control of myself, still ensure that I'm putting myself first, but also just being a better person for everyone around me.
Yeah, that is so good. And what I get out of it is I'm still stuck on I'm still just stuck on like just you can't do everything, you know, but it's also who are you looking to fulfill those positions, you know, like sometimes God will give you, you know, the plan and things of that sort, but you know, just to, I guess, taking the pride out of it. I had to take pride out of it, thinking that if my way or no way, you know, and it was just like to be able to really surrender that and be able to ask people for help. You know, because maybe, I don't know. I ain't talked to Moses before, but it's like I want to know what was going through his head. Like, was it if you did ask for somebody, did you think you were less capable of doing it? You know, because that doesn't take away from our own capabilities and abilities to fulfill it. It's just to say that you just can't do it all by yourself. You know, and not to say that's less of who you are. But just, you know, and that's just what it is.
And I think too, when you say you wish you could ask Moses, because I think too, you know, were you not, you know, was he not feeling that, and did he not feel to like call to Jesus and be like, hey man, I'm wore out down here, you know? And so when I look at that, and when you bring that up about you wish you could ask Moses, is, you know, was that the case? Because a lot of times I just don't even register and realize how beat up I am until it's too late. And I think that that's why it's just, again, so important to be present. That's something that my therapist has been working with me, is just being present so that you're able to recognize certain points in your day, like not just in your life, in your day, where you were starting to feel depleted, and when you're starting to feel like your cup is running empty, like acknowledge those points and go to God immediately. Go to God immediately.
So, and that is so good, because even, I'm telling you, yesterday, y'all, yesterday was just all of this in one. I'm telling you, I was exhausted, and I came into work and I was like, I'm tired. And you know, I work with my mom. She's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, I am. I'm tired. You know, and I was like, literally, like, I'm tired. And then so it wasn't until that night, and I'm like, I'm tired. Like, I'm exhausted. It wasn't even a physical tiredness, like sleepy. It was exhausted, like mentally. And I had to, like, and I was telling her, I was like, it wasn't the fact that I wanted to sit in that. It was just the fact that I needed to acknowledge it, be present with it, so that I know that this is how it feels and this is what I have to do in order to not be there.
To be here,
you know? And so it's just that, like you said, that acknowledgement and being present in those feelings, and understanding that when you are feeling that, don't just suppress it and think you have to continue to push on. That you have to continue. Go seek help. Go take some time for yourself. Go, you know, don't wear yourself out, because it only, like you said, leads to more detrimental effects. You know, so. And
I think it's so good, like, just the importance of healing. Like, we also have to heal, because a lot of time we don't ask for help because of certain scenarios, and, you know, maybe when we did ask for help and it was thrown back in our face, and that is what has also had me partake in my healing journey. Is a lot of times I don't feel like I can ask for help, because I don't ever want it to be thrown back at me. I don't ever want people to have the opportunity to be like, well, you got there because I, you know, had a hand in. And I think with going to therapy, but also just getting in my word more, I'm able to recognize, even if that's how I felt, God put these people in my life. So if that's how it pans out, that's how it pans out. But you have to be tapped into your word to know that God has called you to get help. So if you're not getting help, you're not listening to the word. Period. Period. You're not. You're disobeying.
Literally.
So if you love the Lord, like you say you do, you need to be listening to His word. And His word says, get help, despite you not wanting anyone to throw anything in your face and yada yada yada. He's giving you the blueprint on how to live a good life. Literally. Take the blueprint, and if not, then be quiet. Like, please. And that's for me.
And God sends people, the community that God sends you, listen to them.
Listen.
You know, don't think that you just know all of it. Like, we know it all. Like we said, sometimes we know it all. And but sometimes you gotta be like, all right, bet. All right,
I have room to learn from somebody else.
Exactly. So that's really good. You wanna
close it out? So verse 24 says, Moses listened to his father-in-law and did everything he said. So Moses chose able men from all Israel and made them leaders over the people as commanders of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. They judged the people at all times. They would bring the hard cases to Moses, but they would judge every minor cases themselves. Moses let his father-in-law go, and he journeyed to his own land.
So I do want to back up.
Yeah.
I seen something just now in verse 23. It says, if you do this and God directs you, you will be able to endure, and also all these people will be able to go home satisfied. So just how Jethro gave the advice, but also told him go back to God with it.
Yeah. Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, no, I just looked at it as we were reading. And so that is so interesting, because it's like, I'm not saying that I'm giving you this just based on what my wisdom, but go back to God and pray about it. And that's what I love that, because our friends should also be like, all right, like I'm going to give you what, just based on my experiences and based on what I know, but also pray about it as well. Pray about that wisdom that you receive and see if it lines up with what God has for you.
And I think, when we, again, tie it all to godly community, that's the importance of godly community, because when you don't have people who also believe in God, they're the universe, give it to the universe and give it, you know what I mean? And a lot of that, then it can start to get kind of jumbled up, because then it's like, who do I know for sure is going to ensure me what I need to do? And, he gave this advice, but at the end of the day, Jethro showed that I'm giving you advice, but ultimately I only fully believe in God too. So I'm gonna tell you, but go to who I fully trust and know is gonna give you the good word. And I just think that, I cannot believe that I didn't catch that, but it's so good to have that community, so that they're able to also back you up in the same beliefs that you have.
Yep, exactly. That is so good. So we can go back. I just seen that. I was like, oh,
that was good. But I mean, in 24 just wraps it up. I mean, he did everything he said, which means he listened. He had to have, brought it up to God, and it all worked out. They were able to, it was all able to work out, and they judged, and he, was able to go back to his own land. And so I think it just also goes back for me, is just listening, just kind of listening. I have a hard time listening.
Yeah, and that presence.
Yeah.
The intentionality. Yeah. All of it.
You have to be you have to be listening, and you have to be ready to listen. I think before we started this podcast, I feel like I've always been a self-aware person, but I was not ready to act on that. I was not ready to take the steps to do better. And I think that, if I could leave this episode with anything, is being self-aware is one thing, but being self-aware and then acting on how you can be better is another thing. Yeah. We don't need everybody being self-aware but still staying the same. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And getting into the word, it's so weird. I think I was telling you this the other day, but it's so weird that as we've been tapping more into this, it feels like I'm able to just understand everything so clearly. And I remember, just being younger, just reading the Bible and hearing in church, I'm like, am I not old enough? Have I not experienced enough in my life? Like this isn't relating to me, But because I'm starting to build this relationship, everything that we read, everything that we learn, I'm like, this was for me. And then you're like, this is for you, and I'm like, how can this be for you?
I know this is for me.
And I think that has just been the most beautiful thing about reading the Bible. I mean, because I'm gonna be honest, I never really, I knew the importance of reading the Bible, they say it, but I didn't really hold much value to reading the Bible. But now that I'm able, now that I'm reading it, it's like, wow, I'm able to tie so many things in my life to this. And it's giving me the blueprint. And I used to be stressed out and, God, what do you read?
Read your Bible. That's my word. And that's so interesting that you said that, because I was literally talking about this morning, because I think sometimes we go into the Bible with wanting to gain more knowledge, but also it's getting to know God more on different levels and understanding each aspect of his character, and so it's like sometimes we're like, well, I feel so far away from you. It's like, this is how you get close to me. This is how you understand me. This is how we gain relationship, and you'll be able to listen to me better. So that's what sometimes we just try to check it off. But it's like, no, if you want a relationship, you're gonna have to reciprocate that.
Isn't there? What is that? Is it? And I may be making this up, y'all. So don't. Is it prayer without works is dead? Is that a prayer without?
It's faith without works is dead. If they said prayer without works, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, well, it's still about this. But I think
you can pray. But then if you don't read the Bible, then it's only just one way.
And I found myself in that. I had had a good prayer life. Like I feel like I was an active prayer. I could have prayed more, but I prayed, and so then I would just be so mad because I'm like, God, I pray, but I don't hear you. But that's because I don't know him. Like, you know, I mean, God isn't physically here, so you can pray, but if you don't know who he is, know, the Bible tells you who God is, so you're able to easily be like, oh, that's his character. That's something God would do.
Exactly.
The Bible's something, oh yeah, that's God. Or now I'm like, that's not God, because God don't move like that. And so I had to, you know, understand that I can pray and do all that, but I'm still wrestling with hearing him because I don't know his character.
They used to tell us in church all the time, like when you go to a grocery store and you get lost in the aisles, if your mom calling your name, you gonna know your mom's voice because you have a relationship with her. So don't let us be that person where God is calling us and telling us something and we don't know his voice. Yeah, exactly. Like, who's calling? I don't know that voice. And that's what it is. Like, you literally have to gain a relationship in order to know his voice. What is it?
Here we go with the quote. Don't do no more quotes.
I gotta write them down.
Y'all, we be having good intentions with these quotes, but we just need to.
We ain't even finish straight, y'all. We ain't even leave y'all wrong. We not even go to it. Go to God.
Go to God. Go to God. Leaving this episode, I think my intentions for the week is just reflecting on areas that I can be open to more constructive criticism, and being able to sit and reflect on that and be open to help. Also just assessing, you know, my community, you know, maybe expressing to people in my life where I feel like I may need more from them, and vice versa, you know, kind of doing a temperature check with the people in my life on how I can, you know, be a better friend or daughter or sister, you know, to them, just so that, you know, especially as we are approaching the end of this week of this challenge, that I'm setting myself up, you know, for everything good. You know, I think that the biggest thing too as well that I deal with is a lot of times, a lot of the stress is me. Like, I just cause the stress on myself. It's like, if, you know, I can like set up my day and my life better to not avoid certain things. Obviously there's certain things that like are just gonna come, but I just want to be able to set up the things that I can control a lot better. So I would say that that's going to be my intention for this week.
And I love that. I think for me is to let go. You know, to just let go some things in my life, not thinking I always have to be the one to do and the solution to everything, and just to really sit at the feet of Jesus. That's what it's just coming to my mind right now. Just be in a season of, if he's calling me to just sit at his feet, don't try to grab onto more stuff. Like I said in my What's Up With You and God, I'm just trying to focus on who am I without doing. And I need to really tap into that and figure that out for myself. So that, and also be more present in my relationships. I'm trying to figure out, navigate, like I said, is it the season where we're growing apart, or is it a season where I need to put more intentionality into the relationships that I have in my life? And is God trying to use me in those relationships? And just allowing that, you know, and not be such in my bubble that I can't get out of it and see other people, you know, and accept their flaws and things of that sort, you know. So, that's this was for me. I have a lot of reflecting to do after this. I'm gonna watch it probably about 10 times. So all right. Well, our takeaway for the week is to evaluate your circle, evaluate yourself also, you know, and also just be open to seeing maybe how can you be a better friend in your life, or how can you be more of surround yourself with more godly community. So that is our takeaway, and we hope to check up on each other. As
always, make sure to follow us on socials. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Also, if you guys have embarked on our 75-day soft challenge with us, let us know how you're doing. Let us know where you are. I don't know, like we're kind of like going through waves with ours personally, but let us know if you don't know what our 75-day soft challenge is. We created a 75-day soft faith challenge that includes working out, that includes eating a little bit better, that includes daily Bible study, journaling, and prayer. we want to make it clear that you don't have to take away anything from what you're already doing.
Yeah.
We just want to add.
Yeah,
and hope that as we get through these next few weeks that you're able to kind of be able to see things in yourself that God is calling you to see.
Yeah.
If you want to access or even just look at our challenge, if you go to our link tree in our bio, and click the 75-day soft link, you'll put your name and email, and you'll be emailed the electronic copy of our ebook.
Yes.
So we
All
thank you, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.